let's talk about what I think a lot of my audience looks to you for, which is your multi-unit business.
Okay.
So you have 8,000 units, is that correct? Okay. So with those 8,000 units, it's kind of an interesting situation because a lot of people look at multi-unit properties, residential properties that is, as recession-proof. And the catchphrase is, well, people need a place to live,
Gotta
no
live
matter
someplace.
what.
Yeah.
And everyone still has to pay rent no matter what. But now we're in a situation that's a little bit different because suddenly all these people are unemployed. And in April, 69% of Americans didn't pay any portion of their April. No, I'm sorry, only 69% of Americans paid any portion of their April rent,
Yeah.
which is a huge drop from the previous month. I think like a 10 or 15% drop.
Yeah.
So,
Here's the real data on that. Okay. Look, I know a guy he had 6% collections as of April 4th. I was at 94%, almost 93.8 or almost 94% on April 6th. I was on the phone with 5 guys. One of them owns 180,000 units. Another owns 60,000 units. Another one owns 4,000 units. These guys, every one of these guys except one of them was over 90%. The worst was 88%. The worst market in the country he had is New York. He was off 30% in New York. Not one person reported a 69% number. Now, that being said, I know a guy that's got 6% collections because he's doing all low-end, government subsidized. They're not living paycheck to paycheck. They were broke before this crisis. And I know there's those people out there. So there's a lot of misinformation about everything right now, including Tiger King. But there's a lot of misinformation about the multifamily that I know about just because I'm playing this game right now. So like the no eviction rule, the forbearance, everybody's going to get forbearance. You don't have to pay your rent. That's not actually true, okay? The tenant, at the level that I rent at, I'm at a $1,200 to $1,800 a month rental. This is not an unaffordable rental, meaning at $36,000 a year, you can pay a $1,200 a month rent. Family of 3, let's say, Bob, his wife or his boyfriend, and his 1 child. They're paying $1,200 a month to rent for me. It's a nice place. It's safe. It's secure. There's a swimming pool. Whether you can use that or not right now isn't the issue, but you got security. It's gated. It provides the family with a little park to go to. These are large properties, not like you think about in New York that are all vertical. I have a deal in Austin, Texas. It's got 88 acres of land for 456 families. 88 acres. That means every family's got a third of an acre. So these are garden styles, called garden style. They're spread out. They're affordable. They're safe. They're secure. We're at over 90% on every property we own. Collected April. Now, let me just be the first naysayer because I'm probably the most negative person in the apartment space. I am genetically a negative person. Okay, I always wait for the worst case scenario. These properties that guys like me buy, you cannot over leverage them. Meaning I have some of these properties, the deal in Austin with 88 acres, I have $40 million I put down there. The property's $100 million. I owe 60 on it. So is it worth 60 million? I mean, I got Apple Computer and Facebook as tenants. So again, it goes back to location. It's not all real estate is not created equal. Housing, single family homes in this country are going to be destroyed. We're going to go from 63% ownership probably down to 57 or 56. Last weekend, JP Morgan Chase increased the down payment on a single family to 20%. Minimum down payment's 20%. The beacon score or the credit score has to be a 700 to get a mortgage. Housing's over. So anybody that was going to buy a house, let's just do the practical what happens here. Anybody that was going to buy a house, they got to put on a $200,000 house, they got to put $40,000 down. On a $400,000 house, $80,000 on. on a $600,000 house, I need 120 grand. They didn't have that before this crisis. They don't have it now. And you got to have a better credit score, and you got to have a job that's secure. All that's off the table. So if I'm not going to live in a house, where do I live? Number one. Number two, if I'm losing my job, Dave has either lost his job, he's been cut, meaning he still has his job, but they cut his pay. Or three, they left him alone. He has his job and his pay, but he's still uncertain. And he was renting an apartment on March 21st. This happened. Is he still a renter? He lost his job. He's looking for a job now. The last thing he needs to do is go move across country. And even if he does move across country to go live with mama, in June or July, when this thing lifts and people are back to hiring, you got 16 million people rushing back to a location to get a job. So this goes back to job markets. Where do you want to be? Tampa, Orlando, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, west side of Florida, the Southeast. It's like the smiley face, okay? If you could be in the smiley face of America, this part of America, from Arizona down to Florida and up to Maryland, you're probably going to be safe here.
Well, I actually looked it up. 69% of Americans paid any portion of their rent in April.
You looked it up on the internet. You looked it
right.
up on
Well,
the internet.
no. I mean, I looked it up in actual articles. In March, the number was 81%. So we had a 12% drop from March to April. Now, You're right. It's across the board.
But across all types of properties. Again,
Exactly.
You're counting the $4,000 rental, the $8,000 rental, and you're talking about the $400 rental that's a government subsidized deal, okay? You're also including in there, and I'm not arguing with you, I'm just telling you there's a lot of data not in there. College, student housing has had its fucking nuts cut right off of it, okay? Little Ben was at Arizona State. This shit happens. Ben can't go to class. The fucking college is closed. His daddy said, get home. Probably his mama said, get back here, Benny. I got to take care of you, okay? The coronavirus is least lethal than the mother is, but he ran home, okay? Ran home to mama, and they quit paying their rent there. So student housing, I've never touched student housing because it's dependent upon colleges for the housing.
Right, and there's also rotation every 4 years or less.
Yeah. And there's just, again, you're including all these numbers in this big populace of housing. You're including the New York numbers. I don't own any real estate in New York.
Right. Well, the federal government did a 90-day moratorium on evictions by HUD. Now, that includes the housing projects and, Section 8 and so forth. But, I have a close friend of mine who does big real estate deals. He explained to me that a lot of loans are HUD loans. So if you have a HUD loan, then those rules apply to that property as well. Yeah. So a lot of these, and I guess they give HUD loans to like depressed areas and so forth. So across the country, you can't evict people for 90 days.
Yeah, I don't have a HUD loan. Okay, yeah. Number one. Number two, nobody wants to evict anybody right now. Yeah. Like, no landlord ever wants to evict someone. Everybody understands what's going on right now. So what happened when that thing came out, it says no evictions? Well, it's not actually true. Let me just tell you, there's laws, and then there's natural laws. And natural laws always supersede the real law, the written law. The natural law is this. I'm Dave. I'm a renter. I've been a renter for 6 or 7 years. Renters understand the game, the natural law of renting. Hey, I should pay my rent even if I don't like this place, particularly if I don't like this place because I want to leave here and go to another better place. Well, guess what? If you don't pay your rent here, you don't get to go to a better place. You end up going to a worse place. So that's the natural law, okay? Nobody wants to be evicted right now. Nobody wants to move right now. We had the highest renewals I have ever had in 30 years. Renewal being my lease is coming due. It just happened to be rolling due in April. We had almost double the highest renewal I've ever had because people are like, I got enough instability in my life. I don't need to not know where I'm going to go live. And by the way, I'm not even supposed to be going outside right now. So how do I go look for another place to live? So people will quit paying for something though. You know that and I know that. They're going to quit buying stuff at Bloomingdale's or maybe the Adidas store or the Nike store, or they're not going to buy the Peloton bike. Maybe they let their car go. This is what happened in 2008. People walked away from their homes and kept their car. This was pre-Uber. So I'm just looking for what's the behavior going to be next time, Vlad. Okay. In 2008, we were all shocked. People walked away from their house, take it, and I'm keeping my BMW. This time, they could say, here's the house, here's the BMW. I can Uber because Uber doesn't care what my credit score is and don't need a down payment, but I still need a place to live.